yourself around me.
Really like this a lot. So what she's doing is it's an interesting switch, right? There's the breathy tone, and then she'll go down to the low note without a breathy tone. And so what it takes to do that is you have very light, very little air as you go up, and then you control your exhale. The thing is this has to be done in one breath. You can't, right? You can't do that. So it has to be done in one breath. So a good way to practice that would be, right? Build up the intensity, bring it back. Build up the intensity, bring it back. Cool little thing. Even though it's in the low, it's you know, there's something specific about it. I love the rhythm. Ooh, okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, so we have some really cool stuff on delivery. Yeah, God, you know, it seems like it's not a thing that people should cover, but, you know, in my recordings, like, this has been the #1 thing I've been working on. When you sing a melody line, you do have to be in time. And how you are in time can vary. Are you just doing pure legato and hitting those consonants on time? Or are you emphasizing certain words by hitting those consonants? And so these are very, very, very specific decisions that Beyonce is making. Come on. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's just good music. This is way more chill than I'm used to seeing from Beyonce. Granted, I'm not like a Beyonce connoisseur, you know, but this really, really great. And then the breath control is really, really, really spot on. When you do these breathy sounds, your air goes out faster. So usually the best people who for breath technique are actually countertenors, because countertenors use falsetto to accomplish what they accomplish. It's a very, very tricky thing to do this in your low, because lows take more air. So her air is leaking and she's in her low end, so she needs to really manage the exhale. It's not super hard, but it's definitely something you kind of need to work on a little bit in order to pull it off. See, look, this is what I'm talking about. Listen to how baby lands. Right? Run on that offbeat. Ooh, ooh. This is what I'm talking about. There's nuance here, there's playing here. Check out like the vowel change, right? We have baby, right? And then check out this vowel change that she has on the second time it comes around. Vowel modification, baby, right? And so this is why Beyonce is so good. And you can find this in any like exceptional artist. There's specificity in every little phrase, right? There's something going on in every single phrase, and it keeps the music interesting without needing like ninth chords or weird whatever, right? This is pretty simple so far musically, but the delivery is incredibly compelling. Ooh, ooh, more of this delicious rhythm here. Nice. You know it's a jam. You know it's a bop when the whitest person on YouTube is like, yeah, my shoulders and hips are almost movable. Yeah. I love. This is Beyonce is such a good recording artist, because what we're seeing here is very idiomatic of a lot of different genres. When you put overdubs on specific syllables or specific words, and what's also worthwhile is that the first syllable, like it's a really got a lot of layers to it, and then she decrescendos. Those layers don't go away, right? She go arson, right? And so she does a diminuendo through 2 syllables, right? It's stuff like this. It's really, really, really nuanced. And, you know, with an artist like Beyonce, you can really stop every phrase and there's something in it that's unique. Very, very... right? Super, super, super groovy. Can I say groovy? Is when I say, I think, you know, like, when I say groovy, is it like good, or is it like 1970s really? Anyway, very falsetto. Falsetto. Right? She decrescendos by making the tone more breathy. That's really, really very nuanced, because she has to come... Let's talk about falsetto for a second, okay? Falsetto is what happens when the folds flip up and just the edges of those folds vibrate, okay? So now you can... This is on a continuum, right? You can have your falsetto, your real folds kind of, you know, really, really far apart, or just a little far apart, right? And so she goes a little far apart and then goes all the way to very far apart, which is a very, very... You don't see a lot of people practicing the nuance of falsetto. It tends to be viewed as a negative, right? But this one right here. Right? Super, super breathy, basically getting rid of anything remotely resembling a pitch, and then comes back on pitch on the consonant B. And I will say, using the consonant makes the exhale, makes the exhale more forceful, right? If you take it to an extremes, right? If you do that, you can feel the throat closing up, but coming off on a very breathy, very light tone. It helps you, actually. It helps get you a little bit more air into the voice, which will close the vocal folds. Ooh, that's a nice transition. That's a very nice transition. How about these overdubs? How about these overdubs? This is something that she does so, so, so well. Also, maybe I'm wrong here. This reminds me of like a lot of neo soul. Like I can hear like SZA in this, and you know, like probably Beyonce did it way before SZA or whatever. But it's cool because I don't hear this a lot from her. I love that little and family and right. It's those are the false folds just kind of wiggling a little bit. Even though I'm cooler than you. Ha! Right. She is pretty darn cool. Make love, so I let you be. I let you be. This is such a bop. I would be like bopping my head and like dancing around on the sidewalk. I'd be like, yeah, yeah. It's the way you listen when I'm crying. A lot of use of that those triplets. Da, 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 right? When I'm crying, right? Ooh, that's difficult. That's difficult right here. To get that dynamic and change the vowel is one thing, but to do it when it's sort of like amorphous in terms of time with a bunch of overdubs means you have to really sync and understand musically what's happening when it's very like kind of particular to this very situation. You know, you don't often have glissandi, the moving like instead of it's a right. When you're doing that, that doesn't have a time, right? You don't go, right? So to do overdubs for that, it takes a lot of really feeling out the music and understanding that part of the music. Ooh. Now this is really, really cool right here. Run. She's been singing very, very light this whole tune. and her larynx is higher, and she's using very little breath. And that makes the folds super thin, which means they can move a lot easier. And so these runs are very, very much a result of that, the ease of the runs. Nice. Also, the words, sorry, I just want to go on this run. The word selection on this run also helps. Wow. Usually when you go up, depending on the part of your range, you want a little bit of a brighter vowel. Again, depends. But in this part of the range, it makes sense. So if she did this all on an ooh, it'd be a little bit more challenging. But it's not wound, it's want, right? So she can use that. Ha! Okay, all right, hold on. The implied harmonies there are really, really, really interesting. Like it's jazzy, right? Like this is not your typical intervals between the two voices. It's very, very interesting harmonically. That's so good. Come on, that's just so freaking good. Nice. Nice. This is what's beautiful about the human voice, is the way it can accomplish very, very sonorous harmonies, where the intervals are just micro adjusted to sound super good together. You can't do that on a piano. You can't do that on a guitar. You need an instrument that just micro tune a little bit.
I like it, baby. I like it, baby.
Oh man, listen to this use of delay.
Baby. I like it, baby.
Beautiful, beautiful use of delay. Wow. Now, isn't that an interesting decision, right? We're getting the implied, like, we're just going to fade out. We're just going to do a fade out, right? That's what we think is going to happen, because it's usually what happens in recordings. But she actually takes the outro to do something completely different, right? This is not at all what you would expect. Right? Tempo increase, modulation, like, dang. Like, she's a brilliant recorder.